festival. You are listening to SGFR, podcast radio for the festival. Now broadcasting highlights and top picks, your tasty, tantalizing tease for this coming year.
Hey, I've got Laura with me right now, right here, and I wanted to just run over the volunteering components or the volunteering opportunities within this year's Strange Games Festival. Not because we're looking for more volunteers, as I think, but really just to give a sense of another way of people can get involved and how that kind of fits into the whole festival as a whole thing. So the reason why is because it's this thing that Simon once said to me about it being this sandbox festival. We make the festival ourselves. So Laura, off the top of the head, what kind of volunteering can people do and what sort of people get involved in volunteering?
We get all sorts of people involved. Hello, by the way.
I like the waving.
I don't know why I waved at the microphone.
Look, I'm waving as well.
Hi.
Feel free to wave back.
Yeah, we get all sorts of people volunteering for the festival. We've got a great collection of people. And it is very much integral to the festival. It's run by the community, for the community. It's all a very loving thing. And it just wouldn't be the same without everyone helping out. There's about 3 broad categories of volunteering. So you've got the setup section of time, you've got the tear down section of time, and then you've got everything in between. I suppose you could split that off as well into reception. But yeah, so basically we get people from 9 o'clock on the Friday to come along and sort of set up all the things that will then be open to everybody else from 2 o'clock. So that's all the marquees, the tables, all the decorations, all the signs, just basically everything you see gets done on that Friday morning. And equally, the reverse of that is after 4 o'clock on a Monday, everyone has to take it all down again and pack it away for the next year with a little tear in their eye. Oh. And then across the weekend, we've got lots of lovely people. So we've got a huge team who help on the first afternoon evening with the reception, signing people in, helping people find their place, helping people work out where to park their cars, if they've got pre-pitched tents, directing them to there. And lots of, just sort of welcoming and introductory things. And then across the weekend, of course, we've got our staffed points. So we've got the info point is maintained across the weekend with somebody who's got a book of all the information you could possibly want to know and a hotline to the organisers. And they also will be there letting you check out library games that you can give your details and take them away and play with them until such time as the library closes, bring them back at the end of the day and get a new one. What else do we have? We've got some social deduction Glade hosts this year, so they'll be at the entrance to the Glades directing people to where the next games might be coming up. Who have I missed?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Oh, RPG GMs.
Oh,
so,
of course.
Yes, I forgot to say it because we'd already said it in the last section we did, but
we're not recording these back to back in any way. Yeah. No, we're pretending this is
brand new. I just walked through the door.
Yeah, complete different session.
I'll wave at the mic again.
Yeah. Well, you did last time. That's thrown you.
It has. RPG GMs. So, this year we're very excited. We're going to, Matt, our Guildmaster, he's very kindly come up with this great suggestion. Apparently it's something that they do in conventions all across the world, I guess, where it's sort of modular, so you can take your characters between RPG games. And so in the efforts to bring that to the festival, we've got a small number of sort of very, very specific beginner games that we've got some volunteers running those. And then anyone who wants to be more involved in the free-form side of Adventurers League can make their own games from there. But we wanted to make sure we had that very baseline number of volunteer beginners staffed by volunteers.
There's quite some challenges in that. I don't know how it's working. Is Matt having it so that as your character progresses, it develops XP, advances in skills, that revised character with their new skills goes into the next campaign?
Yes, and you can earn rewards from one campaign that you then take with you to the next campaign.
Including presumably magical items and artifacts and so on.
And as I understand it, one of the really nice things about the system is that the GM who is running a game will also get those benefits for their character that they can take elsewhere. Yeah. So even though they've not been able to take part in the play, they get a benefit themselves that they can take on for their Adventurers League character. And then what we're hoping is to have a big epic multi-table game involving all of those towards the end of the weekend. I think that it's really well planned out. He's going to at some point hold a sort of town hall meeting on Discord to explain to potential GMs more about the system. And then of course the other volunteers we have are mods for the other games. So again, it is a sandbox festival and people will play their own games all through the festival, but we want to make sure we have a limited number of beginner provision to make sure that anybody who's trying these things for the very first time doesn't have to step into some sort of scary environment with lots of people they've never met. I mean, it's not scary, it's always very lovely and welcoming, but if you can see on the timetable this is specifically for beginners, I think that takes away a little bit of fear. So we've got some beginner games for Mafia, Clock Tower and Werewolf, all being run by some lovely volunteers as well.
I don't know if this makes any difference at all, but it does work for me, which is the notion that what fear feels like is so close to what adventure feels like, to the risk-taking of adventure. So feel the fear and do it anyway. Feel the fear and come and join us and be a part of that, especially if you're new. It's great, and my feeling is that it's worth it. So those are the participants there. Oh, I want to just quickly mention, because I did help out on a setup and strike one year, and it was surprisingly good fun.
Yes.
Yeah, you get your hands dirty, sure, rolled up my sleeves, help put up marquees and so on, but there's also this little sense of just mucking in with mates, having a bit of a pizza or whatever at the end of the day, and also being able to play a few games in between as well. So yeah, it's a good thing to do, I thought.
It's not all mucking in and getting hands dirty tasks. There are some tasks like setting up the library or dangling pretty decorations off trees. It is available to people with a wide range of skills and abilities and competencies. So.
I would do it at a heartbeat again if I didn't have other commitments and so on. I'm serious about that. It's really just a lovely thing to do.
Yeah.
Plus you get to go on camp a little bit earlier and hang around and the holiday for a little bit longer as well. Anyway, what do people get in addition to the reward and joy of doing these volunteer things for volunteering?
Well, they get a half-price ticket.
Half price, as much as half price? They should be paying you to volunteer.
I mean...
I guess not. Yeah. And how many half-price tickets were there? How many volunteer slots were there? Do you know?
So this year we've got a staff of around 50 volunteers. Before, obviously, the organisers and the people who put a lot more time in than just the 6 hours that the volunteers do. But for the 6-hour volunteer half-price tickets, there's been about 50.
This makes about sense. So it's about 10% of the people coming along.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for a sandbox, we do it together thing, where some of the tasks are a little bit more arduous, hence the benefit of a volunteer discount.
Yeah.
I mean, we all muck in anyway, just by playing with people who we've only just met and so on. Yeah.
I should mention while we're talking about volunteers that this year we've got a new addition to the team. So Stu is our volunteer manager. He'll have been in touch with some volunteers already, but he'll be the main face at the festival. If you've got any volunteer questions, if you are volunteering, you're not sure where your shift is, then Stu is the person for you. At the moment, all the slots are filled.
Okay.
There is a possibility that one person is going to have to not attend anymore, which means that I will then have to reopen the form and it'll be announced in the Discord. So the advantage of applying for volunteering at the start of the volunteer window, so this is a top tip for next year, is you can tell us what you really want, what tasks you really want to do and what time slots you'd prefer to do.
Yeah.
At this point where we're just trying to plug in gaps because somebody's had to drop out, there's a lot less flexibility, so you may not get the task that you would have wanted if you'd applied straight away.
So the only real challenge is to make sure you show up for your slot when you're timed for it, because we rely on that. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's very, very important that volunteers turn up on time and to swap over with the person who was doing that shift before. Obviously, things happen, but if you stay in contact and communication, then it's really appreciated. But we can't do the festival without this, really. So it is important to stick to the commitments that you make.
What's the worst volunteering job that we're going to ask someone to do?
I don't think there is one. It all depends on your wheelhouse. If you were somebody who really despises talking to people and doesn't want to be involved in social interactions, then you wouldn't want to do a Glade host job where you're talking to people. But that doesn't mean it's a bad job. It just means it's not suited for you. You might prefer putting up a marquee instead.
Yeah, fair enough.
I would hate to put up a marquee, frankly, because it's lots of. I'd rather sit on the info desk.
Oh, okay. Well, you're a sociable person. Whereas,
so they say.
Oh, yeah, I read it on the billboard. Does this include running games? Because you ran, for example, Twin Tin Bots last year and the year before. By the way, I played Twin Tin Bots last year, and it was hilarious. It was so much fun, especially because me being me, I got to pretend to be a robot.
Zip-zorp.
Yeah, zip, sop, click, whirl,
Yes.
so on.
I might
Is
do it
that-
again this year if there's interest. I might do it on the Monday again.
If you do, I commend it to you, dear listener, because it was so much fun. It was, and it got really quite competitive in a really fun way.
This is a life-size moving around a board in a programming game.
Yeah, and some of your robots are your players. Yeah, I volunteered to be a robot because I wanted
Because you wanted to say Zip-zorp.
I wanted to zip zop and gazap and
Yeah.
click whirl and that does not compute and so on.
Oh dear.
But yeah, my question though was: is generating a game like that seen as a volunteering thing?
No. Basically, the roles that we give volunteer tickets for are the roles that are to do with the requiring the festival to function at a minimal level, at the base level. Anything above and beyond that is a sandbox thing. And, it can't be underestimated the amount of joy it gives somebody to put on an event.
Oh yeah.
So people aren't necessarily just putting on a game that feels like a job to them.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's the commitment to the schedule and the overall infrastructure and the smooth running of the festival rather than the popping in and out when you can.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, that makes so much sense. Laura, thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy.
You've been listening to SGFR, the podcast radio channel for the Strange Games Festival.
This season's hosts have been James, Laura, Andy and Craig.
And if you'd like to come on the show, message us on the Festival Radio channel on the Strange Games Festival Discord server.